students, I am Tulika Banerjee. Today I bring you the next learning episode on behalf of the content writers Dr. G.S. Sodhi and Deepika Bhandari on an important unit of paper, Crime and Society, that is the Sociological School, in which we will discuss about sociological school and its history. We will also discuss about the types of sociological school. We will wind up this module with the discussion on various theories related to sociological school and brief discussion on social ecology. Let us start our module with a look at what we are going to learn today. First is introduction and history, then type of sociological school, next social disorganization theory, social ecology, strain theory, cultural deviance theory, social control theory or culture conflict theory, and lastly with the conclusion. Due to the First World War, several countries in Europe, namely France, Britain, Germany, Soviet Russia, Poland, etc., were seriously damaged economically, socially and physically. The same was the effect on the USA too. As there were vast agricultural land and scope of potential employment opportunities than European countries and other countries, several lakhs of people began to migrate to America from 1920 onwards. Therefore, legal and illegal migration from entire globe to America continued due to heavy employment opportunities and luxurious life. This caused serious disturbance in the American social structure. Due to rapid industrialization, urban cities began to swell in size and population. At the same time, several social, labor, economical and law and order problems arose in those urban cities. The crime behavior had grown up in general throughout America and more in urban cities. This has happened to almost all urban cities in the world, including India. From 1915 onwards, several American sociologists started to analyze and research the crime causation on the basis of social structure, its changes, effect of changes on criminal behavior and the solutions of such criminality, etc. This school was called the sociological school. The chief supporters of this theory were Sutherland, Reckless, Abrahamson, Tannenbaum, R.D. Taft, Lowell Carr, Lemert, Kevan, Ogburn, etc. Of the sociological school, there are several subgroups such as strain theory, cultural deviance theory, social disorganization theory, differential association theory, culture conflict theory, etc. All are connected on the same principle that society is the root basis of all criminal behavior. The psychological and biological theories explains that the criminal behavior is connected with the individual's physical or mental conditions. Sociological theories seek for the criminal behavior in the social environment. These theories can be grouped into three general categories, which are strain theory, cultural deviance theory and the social control theory or cultural conflict theory. These theories focus on the lack of opportunities and the breakdown of the conventional value system in urban ghettos, the formation of subcultures whose norms deviate from those of the middle class and the increasing inability of social institutions to exercise control over behavior. This theory says that the breakdown of effective social bonds, primary group associations and social controls on neighborhoods and communities is held to result in development of high crime rates. Thomas, Zianicki, Sutherland, Reckless, Taft, Ogburn, etc. are the supporters of this theory. Principle of social disorganization theory. Before the industrialization, the major population of every country was mainly distributed in villages. In those days, the crime rate was very less or very meager. In those days, people did not used to lock their houses. Peace prevailed in the society. However, due to rapid industrialization in every country, urbanization increased. This caused social disorganization. The main reason for enhanced criminal behavior is social disorganization. This can be explained as follows. Rapid changes in industrialization or urbanization or increased immigration. Some of the supporters of this theory, depending upon the characteristics of ecology, analyzed the social disorganization. Decline in the effectiveness of institutional and informal forces for social control in communities or neighborhoods, that is, social disorganization, which often occurs in gradient or concentric zones as a city grows or expands. Development of delinquency areas as exemplified by high rates of delinquency and the existence of delinquent traditions and values in specific geographical areas or neighborhoods. Park and Burgess explained the social disorganization theory by taking Chicago as the example. Park and Burgess explained social disorganization in this figure and analyzed the relations of criminal behavior with social structure. In this diagram you can see Zone 1 was at the center and called as loop. All commercial headquarters, courts, wholesale, retail shops, cinemas and recreational theatres etc. were heavily established in the loop, that is Zone 1 area. Zone 2 was the zone in transition. Zone 2 area was slum area consisting of cities' poor, unskilled and disadvantaged families. Zone 3 consisted the general employees, government employees etc. who enjoyed some of the comforts. Zone 4 consisted of the middle class families, that is professionals, small business owners and the managerial class etc. Zone 5 was the area consisting satellite villages, towns and suburbs. The agricultural lands, poultry farms, dairy farms, small industries etc. were spread in Zone 5 area. Thus, it is the structure of social disorganization of Chicago city from 1900 to 1933. On analyzing, they found that the crime rates were irregularly distributed throughout the city. In some areas of immigrants, non-whites, low-income families, slum areas, the percentage of high delinquency was higher than the whites areas, high income enjoying people's areas. Most delinquency occurred in the areas nearest the center, that is in Zone 1 or loop area. It decreased from Zone 1 to Zone 5. In Zone 1, most of the economic offences occurred. Besides other offences, in Zone 5, the crime rate was lesser. However, there were rare incidences of dacoity, murders, plundering, etc. Still, this type of social disorganization is appearing in almost all the cities, mega cities of the world. We can find the same analyzing parameters in New York, Tokyo, Islamabad, Hyderabad, Bombay, Bangalore, Visakhapatnam, Calcutta, New Delhi, Vijayawada, etc. The researchers found that communities characterized by unsupervised teenagers, low participation in organizations and few friendship networks had high rates of reported criminal victimizations. They also analyzed that there existed a relationship between social disorganization of neighborhoods and the crime. Next is criticism of this theory. There is a great influence of social disorganization theory on socialists. It helped them to formulate several reformative methods in inquiry, investigation and trial of the cases, and also in courts and prisons. It also helped to bring several new acts all over the world. However, there are certain defects in this theory pointed out by the subsequent criminologists, sociologists, penologists, etc. The main criticism is its dependence on official data, which may primarily reflect zealous police surveillance in disadvantaged neighborhoods, and for its focus only on how crime patterns are transmitted, not on how they start in the first place. This theory also failed to explain why juvenile delinquents of disturbed areas have been changed into good citizens and how some of the citizens remain as law-abiding citizens without doing any crime. even though they are surrounded by criminal neighborhood and socially disorganized society. Further criticism is that this theory could not explain about the middle class and upper middle class delinquencies. The study of interaction between environment and humans to analyze social and behavioral concerns is known as social ecology. It is also termed as human ecology. It mainly deals with the processes of segregation, the emergence through selection of environmental differentiation along key dimensions such as population composition and land use. It focuses on the effect of different environments on humans. It studies how various environments influence human development and action. The study of one specific behavioral effect of these processes, the infringement of rules of conduct, is defined in law. It emphasizes on the role of the environment in the growth of people's differential tendency to involve in crime and their differential exposure to surroundings favorable to involvement in acts of crime. Though the tag social ecology of crime is often used in reference to studies of cross-national, regional, intercity and urban-rural dissimilarities in crime, its main focus has been on exploring and elucidating variation in crime within the urban environment. Therefore, it is not astonishing to discover that the most significant theoretical and empirical contributions of this view originate from the study of urban areas. An ecological view, also called as a pure environmental approach, is often compared with and sometimes considered as being in opposition to an individual, that is psychological, biological and genetic approach to the study of cause of crime. This theory says that a gap between culturally approved goals and legitimate means of achieving them causes frustration, which leads to criminal behavior. Robert Merton explains, it is only when a system of cultural values extols, virtually above all else, certain common symbols of success for the population at large, while its social structure rigorously restricts or completely eliminates access to approved modes of acquiring these symbols for a considerable part of the same population, that antisocial behavior ensues on a considerable scale. Emile Durkheim in the 19th century analyzed the same thing in his anomie theory. He said, a societal state marked by normallessness in which disintegration and chaos shall replace social cohesion. Robert Merton developed strain theory based upon Emile Durkheim's anomie theory. Merton argued that there shall always be two or more classes in every society, and out of them one class gets highest privileges, properties, respect in the society and struggles to retain its top position. The remaining classes try to get those privileges, properties and respect. Naturally, this leads into disparity between the goals and causes frustration, which leads to strain. This strain in the society is the root of the crime problem. That is why Merton's theory is named as a strain theory. Statistics clearly proved that such disparities existed in majority of the countries including India, America, etc. In reality, everyone in society experiences some pressures and strains, and the amounts are inversely related to one's position in the hierarchy. The lower the class, the higher the strain. Next is criticism of this theory. The strain theory of Merton attracted both research and theoretical developments in criminology. However, it is criticized on the arguments that the strain theory alleges that only lower class people is the root cause of the criminal behavior. It has not explained the criminality and criminal behavior of middle class and upper class of the society. These theories explain that crime results from cultural values that permit or even demand behavior in violation of law. Scholars who analyze crime as resulting from cultural values that permit or even demand behavior in violation of the law are called cultural deviance theories. There are three major cultural deviance theories. First is social disorganization theory, the second one is differential association theory, and the third is the culture conflict theory. Let us take up the differential association theory. Differential association theory is based on the principle that an individual becomes delinquent because of an excess of definitions learned that are favorable to violation of law over definitions learned that are unfavorable to violation of law. The differential opportunity theory, a subsidiary theory of differential association theory, explains the concept of anomie and differential association by analyzing both legitimate and illegitimate opportunity structures available to individuals. It postulates that illegitimate opportunities like the legitimate opportunities are unequally distributed. Next, let us see an illustration. Several years ago, an English couple went to thick forest for hunting. In the forest, their small child was lost. After searching, the couple went back with despair and sadness. The child was grown up by the wolves. At the age of 20 years, he was found by certain villagers in the forest. The boy was unable to speak. He behaved just like a wolf in all respects, that is, in eating, walking, sitting, barking, hunting, sleeping, etc. It took a long time for shaping him into an ordinary man. There are several pictures screened on the subject in many languages, including Telugu. In Adavi Donga, Telugu picture, Chiranjeevi was a hero. Tarzan, English and Hindi. The child was brought up by forest animals. The child could not speak Telugu or any language and was unable to communicate his feelings. The differential association theory is also based on the same principle. This theory says that when a child or person is associated with criminal neighborhood, he also becomes a delinquent. Edwin Sutherland was the main propounder of this theory. He introduced this theory in the year 1939 in his book called Principles of Criminology. He said that the crime is learned through social interaction. He opined that people come into constant contact with definitions favorable to violations of law and definitions unfavorable to violations of law. The ratio of these definitions, criminal to non-criminal, determines whether a person will engage in criminal behavior. He explained 9 propositions as follows. First, criminal behavior is learned. Next, criminal behavior is learned in interaction with other persons in a process of communication. Third, the principal part of the learning of criminal behavior occurs within intimate personal groups. Fourth, when criminal behavior is learned, the learning includes techniques of committing the crime, which are sometimes very complicated, sometimes very simple, and the specific direction of motives, drives, rationalizations and attitudes. The specific direction of motives and drives is learned from definitions of the legal codes as favorable and unfavorable. A person becomes delinquent because of an excess of definitions favorable to violation of law over definitions unfavorable to violation of law. The process of learning criminal behavior by association with criminal and anti-criminal patterns involves all of the mechanisms that are involved in any other learning. Differential associations may vary in frequency, duration, priority and intensity. While criminal behavior is an expression of general needs and values, it is not explained by those general needs and values, since non-criminal behavior is an expression of the same needs and values. Criticism. There are supporters and critics of this theory. The supporters praise this theory and argue that depending upon this theory, that defects in the society can be removed, thus bringing the criminal rate to the lowest rate. However, the critics argue that there are certain demerits in this theory. First, This theory does not tell how the first criminal became as a criminal. Second, this theory depends upon the association of criminals to spread the disease of crime to others. The officers of prisons, corrections, police and courts are frequently associated with the antisocial persons. They also should become criminals with the association of such antisocial persons, whereas there are no such adverse effects on the officials. Third, this theory stresses upon small offences such as theft, frauds, etc. It fails to explain properly the homicides, burglary, white-collar crimes, etc. Fourth, it does not concentrate on the desperate need for money. This theory says that criminal behavior focuses on control mechanism, techniques and strategies for regulating human behavior, leading to conformity of obedience to society's rules, and that suggests that deviance results when social controls are weakened or break down, so that individuals are not motivated to conform to them. George Wold, Thorsten Selin, etc. propounded this theory. George Wold, from 1896 to 1967, a sociologist, was the first theorist who proposed culture conflict theory or social control theory. According to them, there are certain conduct norms in every society. The conduct norms are nothing but certain ethical, moral, economic and social rules. There are several groups in each society. One of the groups of that society dominates on other groups and the remaining groups fight for equal position. Thus, conflicts arise in between them. This is happening in every country. There are group conflicts in between whites and non-whites in USA. There are group conflicts in between Hindus and Muslims in India. There are group conflicts in between Shias and Sunnis in Pakistan. There are group conflicts in between Asians and Negroes in Uganda. There are group conflicts in between black and whites, black and Indian race people in South Africa, etc. Wold argued that individuals bond together in groups because they are social animals with needs that are best served through collective action. If the group serves its members, it survives. If not, new members or new groups form to take its place. Individuals constantly clash as they try to advance the interest of their particular group over those of all the others. The result is that society is in a constant state of conflict, one of the principal and essential social processes upon which the continuing ongoing of society depends. Wold argued that the entire process of law-making and crime control is a direct conflict between interest groups, all trying to get laws passed in their favor and to gain control of the state's police power. Selin points out that there are primary and secondary conflicts in the society. Primary conflict occurs when norms of two cultures clash. A clash may occur at the border between neighboring cultural areas, when the law of one culture group is extended over the territory of another, or when members of one group migrate to another culture. Secondary conflict arises when a single culture evolves into a variety of cultures, each having its own set of conduct norms. This type of conflict arises in complex societies. Dr. Reckless also propounded another social vulnerable theory, which explains about the conflicts between two groups, and one of the groups revolts against the dominant group. In doing so, criminal behavior prevails in the society. The remedy is to give an affection to the aggrieved group. Cultural conflict theory focuses on the specifics of how the conduct norms of some groups may clash with those of the dominant culture. With the increasing number of population, the crime rate also increased in many parts of the world. Hence, faced with this dilemma, certain American sociologists started to analyze and research the crime causation on the basis of social structure, its changes, effect of changes on criminal behavior and the solutions for such criminality, etc. It was at this time that certain theories were propounded defining the factors that resulted in commission of crime. Now, this is time for your self-study. If you want to learn more for enhancing your knowledge, you may log on to our website www.cec.nic.in for assignments, MCQs, quizzes and LORs and other materials. Till then, keep studying and goodbye.